Hey there, good morning. How's it going? Hi. Um, okay, I want to restart something that I started. If you've been here for a while, I feel like my subbies are like coming in and out. So I don't know if there's anyone who's been following this channel long enough to know that this was a thing. But I used to do something called the morning report, the afternoon report, and the evening report. So this was really big for me because as I was, so if you don't know, my name is Olivia, and I spent about 2 years after I quit the career I went to college for, and I had to go to therapy, like talk therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, because adulting was frightening for me, and I did not feel like I was going to be successful in it. I had invested quite a lot into, my family's finances, a lot of things, and all of that was like taken away from me, and it changed the way that I viewed the world. So a lot of the concepts that I unpacked during that time of therapy were like me versus society. Like, how is it that I see myself in relation to the general society? That was an important theme for me. Now this is, oh my gosh, this came up on my radar. Was it yesterday? I think it might have been yesterday. And I was like, I'm not going to talk about that. And then I started thinking about it more and more, and I got more and more upset. So we're definitely going to talk about this because I just think it's extremely timely. I'll probably include it here, but first of all, if you are a Black American, a foundational Black American, whatever it is that you call yourself, basically you have something to do with the transatlantic slave in your heritage. I think it's really important that you watch, there's like a master class on, it's called like Black something, but it's basically got Cornel West, Nicole Hannah-Jones. There's this civil rights attorney, and they have 3 seasons, but really the first season lays down the foundation. And maybe I'll make a little snippet here that's like 30 seconds that just kind of introduces it. It's free if you have a library card. You can use Hoopla to watch this, and I would encourage you to do so. Anyway, so this we're gonna read the title. There is a bill to provide descendants of slavery preference in college admissions moves forward. That was on July 10th. To be clear, we're gonna read the article, but this really made me so upset because for such a long time, Black Americans have tried to make it clear to everyone. Black Americans have not benefited from affirmative action. Affirmative action was a program that was supposed to do this. The beneficiaries of affirmative action were white women. They were African immigrants, continental African immigrants who could check the black box, okay? But foundational Black Americans en masse have not benefited from affirmative action. I did not realize that that was an issue or a topic until at my university one day. I was on a couple of like list groups. I wasn't even a part of the Black Student Union listserv, at least. But an instructor who was not in the department, this was like a philosophy instructor, sent out a mass email to, I think, like the computer science students or something. It was like a very strange email, but basically what she said was like, hey, we're trying to get more Black Americans on the campus because like we don't have any right now. And so I've talked to some of my colleagues and we're trying to like improve the numbers. Now, this was the first time I heard this, and this was a while ago. And this was like not by a Black instructor. And so other people were commenting like, what are you talking about? There's like the Black Student Union. And she made it clear. She was like, oh no, see, what I'm trying to explain is that all the Black students here are from Africa. They're continental Africans. So there's a difference between the groups, and there's no Black Americans here. Now, that this was the first time even that concept, that delineation, kind of all that was my first time even understanding that was a thing, how it related to college admissions, population and group numbers. And then I also want to talk about this idea because I saw this a while ago and I wrote about it. But when Black Americans specifically are talking about destiny swapping, this is kind of the crux that they're getting to. Like, continental Africans en masse are coming over and doing the model minority thing, right? You see the videos, they're all online. It's like the diaspora wars, all this stuff. Well, the reality is that Black Americans specifically, the foundational Black Americans, did fight and die for like the 14th Amendment rights and citizenship privileges, basically, right? And the Civil War was definitely about like the slaves. So it's not like, at no point was this about like people of color and like immigrants from Africa and whatever. Like, that wasn't the thing. But it's really strange because so many Black Americans did fight and die and like promote equality for everyone, for Asian immigrants, for, you know, Latinx people. And those same groups have been the ones who have been like vocal and pushing to end affirmative action because in their minds, they believe that there's some Black American who's taken their spot. Oh, those fucking poor ghetto Black trash people, they're taking all our shit. I couldn't get 3 spots. Remember that Asian student that I pointed to, and they were like literally like their father's helping them file a lawsuit against the University of California because they didn't get admitted. And that kid literally says, I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing it for, you know, for my family, because it has to be fair for my family. What? Like, damn, Becky, I'm lost. Like, wait a second. What the fuck? Like, time out. Like, hold the phone. Like, just hang the fuck up. Like, so for me, reading this article, it was insulting. It's insulting for a number of reasons, but it's like the same conclusion that we've come to for a very long time. Now the state or the government wants to come to it. Like, this is bullshit. I hate it here. I'm sorry. I hate it here. So anyway, let's read the article. The top takeaways. Assembly Bill 7, which would allow colleges and universities to give preference to students who are descendants of slavery, cleared the Senate Education Committee. Affirmative action is not permitted at the state or federal level, but proponents say being a descendant of a slave is not a proxy for race. Experts doubt the bill will become law and anticipate legal challenges. So, I mean, this would make sense. If it gets, like, tossed out, fine. Just the fact that there's someone, I don't even think there's any Black people on the education committee. So for them to be talking about this is wild. I just kind of wonder why anyone cares. And I will go back to that. I don't think I released it, but the video that I'm working on editing to release is kind of talking, it's like the problem with the Black youth or whatever. And yeah, so if imagine being like, not even imagine, the reality for most of the kids, the children of the foundational Black Americans, basically, like the kids of slaves down the line, they have never had anything. Like, none of their family members have gone to college. I would say for about like 80 to 90%. So they don't even have hopes or dreams of getting an education. Like, being a part of civil society isn't the goal. It's not even in the story. So people are wondering why they're like going out and killing each other. What else is there? If you don't, like, intellect is like a skill that you harness over time. So, like, if you're not accustomed to, like, having an idea presented to you, marinating on the idea, and trying to understand other parts of the world, to be able to, like, compare and contrast that to your own lived experiences, those are, like, really academic things. But we're not talking about people who are like academics, right? Like, there's like, the reason people always use Cornell West for shit is because he's a college professor and he's Black, or Nicole Hannah-Jones for things is because she's like a New York Times writer and she's Black, but like there is no one else. That's what I thought was so funny about like me just showing up in the room in tech, and I was trying to, like, so many times I didn't say anything there. Well, not, like, I said some stuff, and even that stuff was taken with, like, we fucking hate you. But, like, I would like listen. Like, it's like a social experiment. Like, I wonder if they just believe that like a whole bunch more people like me are just gonna come. They're just gonna magically appear here, and then society's gonna be great. They have no idea like how many hoops that we have to jump through to even get in the room. Like, they have no idea, and they just think it's gonna be like so easy for the next person. I'll repeat, I hate it here. Anyway, let's actually get to the article because I don't want to be here all day. A bill that would give California colleges and universities an option to provide preference in admissions to descendants of slavery has cleared the state's Senate Education Committee with a 5-2 vote after being passed in the Assembly with overwhelming support. But the bill moves to the Judiciary Committee. But as the bill moves to the Judiciary Committee, even its proponents say they are pessimistic it will become law at a time of increasing scrutiny over measures suggesting racial preferences. Right. Assembly Bill 7, authored by Assembly member Isaac Bryan, is the first statewide measure of its kind to address the harms of slavery, said UCLA education Professor Tyrone Howard, and it has been backed by nearly 24 organizations, including the California Federation of Teachers and the University of California Student Association. Disparities in admission persist and reflect deeply rooted structural inequalities, including the afterlives of slavery. In addition, California had a long history of legacy admissions, up until last year, that favored students who came from wealthy and well-connected family situations, Bryan said at Wednesday's hearing. AB7 empowers universities with the option, not a mandate, to acknowledge and respond to this historical context when evaluating applicants. Lance Christensen, the Vice President of Government Affairs and Education Policy at the California Policy Center, said he doesn't see the need for such a measure in California, and felt the bill looks to be an upper-handed approach at racial preferences. Okay. I think we're getting close to the place where we should stop race-baiting a lot of our bills. If California truly is a terrible or bad actor in the issue of slavery, we should do everything we can to fix and address those issues, Christensen said. And there are places where we were really not good to a lot of Black people, Asians, Native Americans, and other disparate people. This is not one of the places where I think we should focus our time and attention. I wonder where he would focus the time and attention then. I don't understand that. Organizations such as the Californians for Equal Rights Foundation also previously expressed concerns about AB7 leading to de facto racial preferences without facilitating any meaningful changes to ameliorate structural problems at the K-12 level, including declines in academic performance and the persistent achievement gaps among different demographic groups. Neither state nor federal law allows a student race to be a factor in admissions, and affirmative action continues to be barred in California under Proposition 209, which 57.2% of voters opted to keep in place in 2020. But supporters of the bill said at Wednesday's hearing that descendants are not a proxy for race and could look like anybody in this room, noting that Indigenous people also have histories of being enslaved. Meanwhile, not all Black Americans have ancestors who were enslaved. That is a good point. The bill did not receive any formal opposition at Wednesday's hearing. We have seen reparations for different communities, and we've seen the benefits, said Senate Education Committee Chair Sasha Renee Perez, noting reparations measures following Japanese internment during World War II. Exactly. Unfortunately, we have not seen the same type of investments placed toward those that are descendants of slavery and Black Americans across the country. Amen to that, whoever this person is. And that sounds like that's a Latinx woman. Sasha Renee Perez. Proving lineage. AB7 is unique because it specifically pertains to students who are descendants of slavery, Howard said, but even if the bill passes, qualifying for any preference in admission could be difficult. And Christensen added that ancestral records are often incomplete or scattered at best, which could lead to logistical issues. Admissions reviewers have a lot to already digest when they're going through the process of admissions as it is, But you think about transcripts and grades and coursework and extracurricular activities, Howard said. And so now to add that, you've got to prove lineage. That might prove to be a bit challenging. Any preference in admission would apply to students who can show a clear lineage to someone who was subjected to American chattel slavery before 1900, according to the bill analysis. In order to receive preference, students would also have to meet at least one other criteria, which includes having an ancestor who was emancipated, acquiring freedom through abolition measures, being a fugitive from bondage, considered contraband, or rendered military or civic service, while subject to legal restrictions based on ancestry historically associated with slavery. When it comes to affirmative action, there is this misnomer that somehow a large number of unqualified and unprepared Black students are getting these opportunities solely because of the fact of their race or ethnicity, Howard added. This would be one variable that would attempt to at least give some consideration. I feel like, yeah, this is probably not going to pass, which is like not surprising, but these things, I mean, I don't know. It's like even things that make sense and are like, yeah, you don't just get an opportunity simply because of your skin color. There would have to be some other qualification. The consensus in the country is that, like, even though everything is not equal, we have to literally, like, give everyone equal treatment. Despite its support at Wednesday's committee hearing, many experts are wary that the bill will not become law in the first place. As progressive as we are, I don't know that we have the appetite as a state to go so far as to say, yes, we acknowledge that there are descendants in this state who are harmed by the legacy of slavery and therefore are going to take redress by turning, when it comes to college admissions, Howard said. Howard pointed out that even if AB7 is successful, the language in the bill requires that colleges and universities ensure any changes in the admissions process are in compliance with federal law. Given the current political climate, federal guidelines are not going to allow something that gives anything that resembles an advantage or other opportunity to one group of others to fly, Howard said. I just think all the attacks we've seen on DEI, anything that's seen in that way, I think would be dead on arrival. I agree. Sean Harper, a USC professor of education, public policy, and business, said he supports the measure and other efforts to secure reparations. Oh, really? Reparations, like monetary checks, are something that this country will be plagued by. I don't even know the word to, like, the country can't move forward until reparations are paid. That's the point. Like, you can say whatever, blah, 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 but I saw that video that was from Diary of a CEO about World War III. And I think that one thing that the U.S. is not taking into account is that all of the other countries who are in those, like, proxy wars or whatever, they have learned how to navigate from the United States. So unless the United States actually does something in a leadership role to prove, like, no, what we did was really wrong and we are paying for our mistakes, the gaslighting that has come from this state, like, there's the first public apology, I think, was made by Biden. When he put on that little kente cloth or whatever, and he was like, we are sorry. And that was the first public apology. That was like 3 years ago. But, like, there's been no money paid for the stolen labor. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see it happening, but I also don't see the continuation of this, like, pseudo state country thing. Like, I definitely, it's like rotting from the inside, if you ask me. I think I don't know, I feel like it's, like, almost interesting to watch politics, because as I hope to be involved in, I don't want to be, like, involved in Ethiopian politics, because, like, I wasn't born there, but I do hope to, like, influence other women specifically who were born there and who care about, like, societal change in a democracy, and hoping to implement some of the, like, laws and policies that like should work here but don't because of like scandal, what if they actually were set out to work there? I don't know. I think that's interesting. Hello, my name is Olivia. Welcome to my channel. I like to sit around at coffee shops or at the beach and talk shit. I talk about women's issues, feminism, relationships, but mostly being a Black woman in America and how to survive that. Politically, I'm moderate, even though that seems hard for people to believe. I'm very conservative on issues like immigration, very liberal on other issues like feminism and abortion. Thanks for being here.